Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Snoo. We are on the eve of the 3.23 Affliction League launch. Hope you've been having a good time with your league start practice. Hope you've been able to choose your own league starter for that matter. We only got a few hours left. As for me, I'm going to be spending my last few hours coming out with one last video. This one is to help you guys have the best overall, smoothest league start experience to get your feet up off the ground farming currency as fast as possible as a solo player in particular. This is the best Atlas completion strategy, streamlined straight into Exarch altar farming for bubblegum currency. If you don't believe me, just talk to the many numbers of people who have come around to this strategy in the last few leagues. I've been doing it for 3 leagues now. I've even made videos on it, and it's given me a chance to refine my information, to take in the input, the constructive criticism, everything comes with it. And this time I'm going to make 2 videos in one. So we're going to combine the Atlas completion strat and Exarch altar farming strat. And once you get into this place, you can basically purchase whatever final league start gear you need. You can go morph it straight into a totally different strategy if you want. It's a really nice feeling to have your Atlas completed really fast, to get you ahead of the curve, ahead of the competition in many ways. So we are looking at the Atlas right here in front of you. This is the finished product, and I'm going to show you exactly how we got here right now in the video. I have notes on the right hand side to keep me on point, to keep this video flowing nicely. And you can see here we got quite a few of these keystones in place. We got a lot of nodes dedicated to maps. We got some heisting apparently, and we got even a little bit of expedition, and Exarch is the focus. But it doesn't just get here magically. You got to start things off right. So you're going to pick whatever league start you choose. Doesn't matter what it is, just need to be capable of opening your Atlas and getting things cleared out there. And then eventually, once you get into maps, this is where it's going to begin. This is where it all begins. And you're going to start at 0, just like everyone else. I don't know what order of maps there are to do, but we are going to be looking out for Jungle Valley in particular. As a general strategy, as it says here on my notes here, we're going to be rushing the map boss every time. We're going to be skipping league mechanics. This is how the people who do this really fast do it. And then we're going to clear until an adjacent map drops. That's a specialized mechanic built into the Atlas, where you can see maybe right here, 2% chance for one monster in each of your maps to drop an additional connected map. We're going to drive that chance all the way up to 100%. So every single map will drop an adjacent map. Doesn't matter if you're lucky or unlucky, it will drop, and it has the higher chance than any other type of map drop to be a map you have not yet completed. And so that is what makes this strat so good on its face. We're going to full clear only the highest tier maps, for that off chance that you drop another map of a similar tier and can maybe, 3-to-1 the recipe, which is actually another point I have on here. Eventually, you're going to run into brick walls. It may happen in white maps, may happen in yellow map, may happen in red map, may happen in all 3. It tends to happen to me once or twice in the Atlas completion strategy. But at any rate, we have a few tools that can help get us out of that predicament. One is the 3-to-1 map vendor recipe. You can vendor 3 of the exact same map, same tier, and you get a randomized map of the next tier, including maps that could potentially be ones you haven't cleared yet. Very potent to do that if you don't have many maps yet cleared of that higher tier. And that strategy is also useful for horizon orbing. In the case where you have a horizon orb, especially if you want to save them towards the end, which is a good idea, you can horizon orb a map to a different map of the same tier. Very good to use when you're entering a new tier of maps and haven't completed many of that tier yet. And then we also have Keurig Master Missions, which are going to play a big part in this strategy. Basically, it has 2 purposes. One, either to help you finish a map that you haven't done, because Keurig Master Missions tend to spawn with maps that you have not yet completed, or perhaps the most potent use of it, to do some of the unique maps that tend not to drop during your actual Atlas completion strat, and you can only really see them either from buying them straight off trade for a premium price, or seeing them through the Keurig Master Missions, either white maps, yellow maps, or red maps. We're going to want to try to accumulate as many of those Master Missions as we can in each tier, so every time we use a scouting report, which we eventually have to, it'll keep filtering out 3 different choices for each tier. So we're going to start, and I will have this tree in its finished product linked in the description below, and then I will go ahead and put what I have highlighted here in the notes in a pinned post for you because it's kind of nice set out there. We're going to go straight to Wandering Path, and we're going to prioritize some of the better nodes to get there. What am I saying? I'm saying the adjacent map drop chance, which we want to reach 100% of, but not yet. It's first, we're going to go straight to Wandering Path, and this is going to be the route we do it. You could go left, you could go right, but left is better because the next move we're going to do is Keurig Master Missions. But as you can see here, it says I have 17 out of 132 points. So that's going to be really good. It's going to go straight up the line here, only taking points that are at least valuable during this entire process. So we're never going to be respecking out of any of these points in particular. The next move will be to jump down here for 2 more adjacent points. And we're prioritizing at this point, getting all the Keurig Master Mission chance, because we have a default very small chance to get a Keurig Master Mission. When you finish the map, the chance is very small. I can't remember exactly what it is, but we're going to crank that chance up by going there and then up here, and then even doing this here to get the remaining ones. Whoops, there it is. And now we have 31 points done, and we've got all of the Keurig Mission chance. We have 14% additional chance to get a Keurig Master Mission when you complete a white, yellow, or red map. It's very good to get this done out of the way ahead of time because you don't just want to be stacking up red map Keurig Master Missions. You want to get white and yellow and red stacked up, especially when it comes to unlocking all of your unique maps when you start spamming those scouting reports to get that. All right, so next on the list is number 3, 100% adjacent map chance. So it's going to lead us up to 44 points. And it's not super important which points you take. I like go ahead and give myself a nice line down the middle because eventually I'm going to respec, and so that'll be smart. We're going to see that number get cranked up here. It's already at 88%. Okay, 96%, and then this will be the last one. I think this is the way I'll do it right here, and this leads me up to 100%. Now we could get more than 100%, and it had occurred to me in previous video making these that you don't actually have more than 100% chance to drop a map. It's not like you have a chance to drop even another map after one dropped. That's not a thing, so you want to stop at 100% chance here with Wandering Path and the double effect of the small nodes. Of course, you notice we're not getting any notables here because Wandering Path does make those brick out and we don't get any value at all. You can still take keystones, however. All right, so next it says all higher tier map chance. So I believe this only applies to random map drops and not the adjacent map drop. This involves an equity system whereby you're going to drop maps all the time, and especially once you get watchstones, it may not be able to drop the map because it literally doesn't exist on that tier because you've cranked up the tier on all the maps. And then an equity system kicks in. So this still works though, generally, whether you have watchstones or not. And indeed, it works beyond 100%, unlike some of the others. So you can see me filling in some of these map higher tier chance. And we're going to do these. And we'll even try to get through these right here. It doesn't matter which keystone you take. We're not really making use of any of them. But I suppose if you were, the only one you make use of is the Fortune Favors the Brave. Maybe for a future strategy where you kind of convert over to a different strategy. I have to take some of the quant wheel to get to the others. That's fine. Quant is still a pretty premium stat to have, but don't be confused. Quantity and or rarity, we're not magic finding yet. There's no point in really worrying about it. It's not going to impact the adjacent map drop, which is really kind of an all-in strat that we're doing here. So it's not super important that you get quant and or rarity, but it's nice because who knows, you might drop an extra divine orb, you might drop an extra unique that's actually worth something on day 1 or day 2. So it's nice to have. But anyway, that is 62 points, and I am now complete on part 4. Part 5 says get Wrath of the Cosmos. Now, I always second guess myself when I need to do this. I go ahead and get the influence pack size. But starting, I believe, in tier 8, you will begin doing your Searing Exarch and Eater of World stuff. So it's nice to have this unlocked already. By the off chance that you actually get an altar to spawn in a yellow red tier map, it could really be nice for jumpstarting your currency. Imagine getting a Chaos Orb minion altar in a tier 9 map and what that would mean for you at your league start practice. It's a big deal, and that's one of the reasons why you should probably go ahead and do it. Around this number of points, you're going to be getting into yellow and start getting into red map. So this is the time to do it. It's only 5 points in total. and that's why we're going to do that. It's very, very good to get the small nodes here. This is a total of 10% pack size on those minions, and this is part of the core component of the final strategy, but we're going to tap into it a little bit early on. Next, we're going to do quantity and rarity wheels. So kind of have mixed thoughts about which ones to go next, but I think it's best to just go ahead and finish out the quantity wheel. You know, it feels kind of bad not to take any of those points, and I like going up the Harbinger here. Now, Harbinger, you could do Essence instead if you want, but one reason why Harbinger is good, because we're going to kind of want some Horizon Orbs in the very end. It's really nice if you could have some, especially to finish out the tier 15s and tier 16s. What usually happens is you have a little bit of a hard time dropping a tier 16, and then you get one, you finish it, and you can't get a second tier 16 for the life of you, and then you just keep getting the same tier 16 over and over again. So that's when it's really nice to be able to Horizon Orb that very last tier to finish out your Atlas. These Horizon Orbs do drop off of Harbingers in the form of fragments eventually, and if you do them, you can. This is kind of one exception I have to doing any league mechanics. I will tend to do Harbinger. It's fast. Harbinger monsters are magic rare. They tend to drop maps anyway. And so between those two things, it's up to you, but I like the idea of doing the Harbinger if I run into it. Again, not really fully clearing the map, but if I see it, if I run into it, I'll go ahead and kill it. Okay, next we're going to do, I believe that's it, yeah, 79 points. All map duplication chance. Now, you might want to do map duplication chance before you do the quantity wheel and all that. That's up to you. Map duplication is nice. It definitely synergizes with the adjacent map drop, and it could mean more 3-to-1 recipes. It could mean more chance to Horizon Orb something. Oh, yeah, and it could mean you get to sell more maps, because selling maps is a really big deal. But the value, total value per point is rather small. 0.5% chance upgraded to 1% chance and duplicated. So not that much value. I mean, nothing compared to 4% chance to drop an additional map versus 1% chance to duplicate a map. So the value is a little bit steep there, but it's still a very good node in its own right. And it's going to be really important to have this as we get into our endgame strategy. And so that will leave me with 32%. I got to go up to 37. 37 is the number to hit, so keep going until you hit 37. We are now up to 37. We're done. 106 points. And at around 106 points, we're basically done with our Atlas. There's probably not much left to do. You've probably done a few unique maps. You've probably at least killed your Quest Eater and Exarch. Maybe you've even managed to get Maven down, or Uber Elder, or leached the kills perhaps, which is probably what I'll be doing. Maybe you still have a couple T16s left, a T14 randomly, but it's basically done, which means we're going to be unspecking the Keurig nodes here. We're going to unspec the Keurig nodes. That's what we're going to do next. Don't have to pull back on any of the other points there. So nice, quick, and easy. I think it was 7 points. So you're probably going to be able to Orb of Unmaking, or just have the refund points anyway for those 7 points. So that'll work out nice. Next, we're going to be focusing on blueprints, because you're basically at the point where you're just doing tier 16s. You're just doing tier 16s now, so it's at 1, 2, 3 points here. Just a chance to spawn a smuggler stash, that's all we're going for. Got 1 more point here. And then go ahead and pick these points up here. We got a chance to spawn a second smuggler stash and the blueprint. Now, the blueprints are going to be interesting this league. All blueprints are worth the same amount, I guess, because it doesn't matter which one they are. This is a major change. I suppose there will still be a lot of people heisting for those alternate base items, especially for the Simplex amulet. So I'm guessing that blueprints are going to be worth quite a bit. So this is a really nice way to just add some currency. They're probably going to be easier to sell than ever before. You're not necessarily going to have to rely on TFT to mass sell blueprints this time around. And it takes literally no extra time in maps to hit a smuggler stash and pick up an item level 83 blueprint. So that could feel really good and be a nice little source of extra currency with essentially no sacrifice. Now, next we're going to do, okay, let's just make sure, 113 points, good. All right, expedition chance. Now, this one's a little bit more controversial. We have a few more points to spare. We're basically done with the Atlas. We're just kind of finishing up some of the unique maps at this point, and maybe doing some of the Maven invitations for, 4 map bosses, 6 map bosses, 8 map bosses, what have you. And the only thing really left that I think I'm going to do is probably expedition. So I'm going to get extreme archaeology. And then I'm going to pick up some Expedition Chance. Wandering Path is very good for randomly spawning mechanics. In this case, we're going for Smuggler Stashes or Expedition. Smuggler Stashes are good value, as I mentioned already, because they're very quick and easy. Archaeology and Expedition Chance also, because only one can spawn on the map, and we can get a very high chance to spawn it. And now that we have the Extreme Archaeology, ba-bomb, we can do it very, very quickly. Now, maybe your build can handle it, maybe not. If it's going to struggle on it, you might think twice about doing this, but that's going to lead me to 123 points for Expedition Chance. And that means I'm 9 points away from the total. We're going to do 3 more points here, which at this point, you are basically in the driver's seat, starting to really farm Exarch alter currencies. You're going to want to do the singular focus. We're going to start ping-ponging between 2 maps only, and you're going to have, as long as you do the normal stuff, and then also clear 1 Elder map, 1 Conquer influence map, and 1 Shaper influence map, you're going to have a total of 6 slots for favorited slots, and that means singular focus is going to function pretty well. We're also going to do Growing Hordes in case you're starting to get some rusted scarabs to drop on the map. It synergizes really well with both Archaeology and, or rather, Expedition and Exarch altar farming. You can even purchase the scarabs off trade if you want. As for me, I'll probably be doing the 0 investment, 0 risk strategy like I did last league. And this is basically where everything finishes up. Just want to explain real quick how singular focus works here. I believe after all my time testing, I've probably figured it out. Now, the way singular focus says, it gives you 3 times a chance to drop the maps that you have favored in, or rather, sorry, 3 times the effectiveness of the favorited slot, which ends up being 30 times the chance of dropping a particular map. So if you have 1 map favorited, you now have 30, you're basically rolling the dice 29 extra times to possibly roll that map. Now, out of 100 maps, by the way, 100 specific maps. So it's like 30 out of 130 it would be. So it'd be 30 out of 130. It gives you a decent chance of hitting that map. Now, it means if you don't hit it, you get nothing, or you just get the currency instead. Well, we always want to be dropping maps, so that can be kind of a problem. The thing is, assuming that this functions with the adjacent map system, the pool of maps that you can drop is no longer 100 maps. It's now only about 3 or 4. Think about how many adjacent maps there are in any map you're doing. There's only 3 or 4 adjacent maps, wherever you're at, possibly just 2. So I don't know what maps we'll be pinging-ponging across from, but instead of being 30 out of 130, it'll be like 30 out of 33, 34. Okay, that's a big difference, and that's just with 1 favorited slot. You're going to have 6 favorited slots, so it's just going to be overwhelmingly high chance of seeing that adjacent map with the singular focus strategy, and that is presumably why when I do this strategy, virtually every map I do, honestly, like 98 out of 100 maps, I get that adjacent map drop. And quite often it duplicates because there's a 37% chance to duplicate, which means I end up in a surplus. Every single time I do the strat, I have a surplus of maps. Once the whole Atlas tree is done, unlocked, basically once all the map nodes are taken, unlocked, it's fine. I don't actually think it's necessary to have these higher tier map ones. I've messed around with that a little bit. I'm not sure if that plays any role in the adjacent map drop, but it will play a role in your raw map drops. And remember, maps are worth a lot at League Start, especially on day 1 or day 2, what this strategy is designed for. All right, so that's it. We're done. We're good. You're on the road. You're farming Exarch currencies. You're getting all those minion rewards for Chaos Orbs. Gem Cutter Prisms, which are going to be worth a premium this time. Orbs of Unmaking, going to be worth a lot. Orbs of Regret, also going to be worth quite a bit. Orbs of Annulment, if by chance you hit that one. And, all of the Eldritch Embers on the list. Now, you can do Eater of World side if you want. You're basically fishing for Eldritch Ickers at that point, but most people will agree the market is starving for the bubblegum currency that the Elder or Eldritch Exarch has to offer, and up until the point where the market begins to be saturated with that currency, that is the way to go. That usually happens at least up until about day 3 or 4. Then it really starts to drop off, and it becomes prudent to maybe switch over to Eater of Worlds and do some totally different stuff like magic finding, which could serve you well. That's what I'm going to be doing. But anyway, I'd like to hear what you're going to be doing. Are you going to be following this exact strategy? I do think this is the best strat for any solo farmer out there who is especially trying to get into a real in-game strategy really quickly to unlock your Atlas, to get an initial currency in with no investment, no risk, be able to purchase your league start gear or finalize your initial league start gear setup, and then you'll be well on your way and in great shape for the entire league. So let me know what you think. Have a great one. Have a great league start, and we'll see you in the next video when I come out and tell you how it's going on my end for my league start. So that's it. See you in the next one.